Welcome to Music for Global Change, Fred and Richard Fairbrass. Your band, Right Said Fred, was formed in 1989. You're best known for your hit of 1991 song, I'm Too Sexy. You have #1 hits in 70 countries, including the US, UK and Japan. You were the first band to reach #1 slot in the US on your debut single since The Beatles. And you've performed for The Queen, Nelson Mandela, and including releasing the tracks for Comic Relief. You're a multi-platinum award-winning artist and songwriters. You've had Brit Awards, BMIs, Ivor Novello Award, to name just a few of them. So welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us. Please tell us more.
Pleasure. Well, everything you say it's all completely fabricated.
I just found it on the internet.
Yeah, well, if it's on the internet, it's true, brother.
Oh, yeah. It's very true. Very
on
true.
the internet, it's true.
And it's there forever.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing.
I'm always impressed when people talk like that. It makes me think I'm talking about somebody else. It never feels like
Well, Skyler knows all about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've just been obviously we've cancelled, not cancelled, but we've refused to do a lot of gigs because it was all to do with jabs and all that nonsense.
Yeah, segregated shows. We refused to play a part of that.
So we wouldn't do that. So we've lost a couple of years of work, but we're compensating on that with just going digital, doing everything online. Got a book coming out in August.
Yes, got a book coming out in August.
Yeah, which is interesting actually, because when we're having to proofread it now, and it takes your mind back. It's a really weird. It's almost like you're not reading about yourself; you're reading about
other people.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's been interesting because a new single comes out on May 17. It's a song called Godsend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we're involved in the NFT world a little bit, and so we're just in discussion with a gallery because now they're actually thinking about having physical galleries for digital art, which is kind of weird.
With the NFTs?
It's a non-fungible token. Basically, it's crypto art.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So crypto art, and there's a thing called Bored Ape, and a few others that have made crazy money. I think the market will balance itself out. I think we've seen this huge surge of some people making an absolute fortune, a bit like the .com did in the early noughties, or the 90s maybe. People selling .com names, and we had this massive bubble. And I think the NFT is going through quite a change at the moment, and obviously it's connected to the crypto market, and I think so. It's a bit volatile, but we got into it about several years ago.
Yeah,
and we've got our own NFT website called NFT Bulldog, and that bulldog.com, sorry, and that is some of our stuff, and then we feature other artists, and we're just in the process of hopefully doing some more press and a bit of a relaunch in the next few months. So I've been involving in that, and also, I mean, from our point of view, I think a bit like Skyler, if you've been in a band prior to pandemic, certainly either 80s or 90s, and even parts of 70s, you would have experienced, I think, probably the golden age of music.
Yeah,
certainly anything pre-digital, because what you had was people got their money on a Friday or at the end of the month, and you could go out, you could buy clothes, you could buy hard copy records.
Yeah,
no
that
games,
was it.
No Xbox. No,
there's no video games. There's no phones.
Yeah.
There was no Insta chat. There was none of that. It was and people, and because you didn't have the internet, seeing a band you'd seen on Top of the Pops actually on stage was an extraordinary thing. And I remember that as a kid when I first saw David Bowie or T-Rex, and you'd seen these mystical animals sort of on your television, and you thought, well, who are these people? I don't see people like this in my normal life. And suddenly you'd go to some big gig, or in some cases small gigs, and suddenly David, like we saw David Bowie quite early on, and you get this guy and he walks on and starts playing Starman and whatever it was, or T-Rex, and it's a real moment. It was a big sharing community, and I think that's been lost.
It's kind of the same for movies.
Film a little bit like that.
You can access stars, you can access celebrities much more easily. Back in the day, you had to wait for Christmas to get your favourite film.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the only time you saw anything you wanted to see was Christmas.
Yeah.
And now you can go on YouTube and you can see anything you want. Absolutely.
Right.
At any time,
Anytime.
At any time. So there's that specialness has gone. Although I have to say, they sold today an Andy Warhol original of Marilyn Monroe. And it, I think it went for something like $150 million. Yes, it's one of the highest.
Wait a minute. What? One picture?
It was Andy Warhol, the original of the Marilyn Monroe thing.
He could go on vacation for the rest of his life.
And I'm telling you, when I saw that, if Andy Warhol was here now, he would be laughing. He would be laughing and be really irritated.
I think he never made that much money.
No. Well, that's where NFTs are going now. Dad, I'll teach you about it. I own NFTs, so I'll teach you.
Oh, okay. So you know what I'm talking about. And
I'm excited to hear more about it. Actually, I'll hit you guys up.
Yeah.
So is it around? Are some of the art around? I saw your new video that's coming out next week. I got a sneak peek. And it's fully animated, which I thought was cool. And it's around skulls, and I have
cool.
a bunch of skulls.
It is. It's yes. We've got a series called Skulls with Skills, and those are featured in the new video, which is animated, and we're just discussing how we're going to slice the video up into digital art. Because I think
wow.
Count me in. I'm trying to join the NFT craze.
Who did the animation?
Well,
yes, it's
Who
animated.
Who did the
Kay Marino, who's a friend of ours, she lives out in Gibraltar.
Yeah.
And she's, apart from being very, very pretty and lovely, she's also a very talented graphic and digital artist. And she just really liked the track. Is doing this sort of video. She's more corporate. She works for governments and does different sorts of digital art. And our PR played to the track and said that the boys weren't sure what to do about a video. She said, "Well, would they talk to me about it?" So we discussed the imagery. Yeah. And that's how it got made. Yeah.
I love it. Tom, you got a question?
Yeah, well, just around that, really. I mean, you mentioned the animated video that you've just released or just about to release. Is that something you would do more of? Are you looking at doing kind of more animated stuff video-wise, or was that just a dip in the water and you won't necessarily go down that road? Or
I think we'll go back. I think we'll do another one.
I think we'll do another one. I mean, our problem, not a problem. I think it's probably a blessing. Is when we do videos, we get bored really quickly when we're actually there.
They're remarkably boring.
It's like, that was perfect. Can we do it 10 more times?
Yeah.
So in a way, it was, and also as Fred says, we didn't have a particularly clear idea as to what we wanted to do. With a previous song we've done called "We're All Criminals," it was obvious what we wanted to do. But this particular track was much more difficult to pin down in that way. So and the track itself is very image driven and in orally, if you know what I mean. It comes up with images.
What's the song about?
Song's a kind of a journey from. We wrote it during the pandemic, and we're fans of. There's a rapper or a guy called Everlast. Yeah, and we're big fans of him. A guy called High Res did a song, "We Will Not Comply." Although I never understand the song because that's the thing they sing, but it's not called that. I think it's called "Welcome to the Revolution." I think. Right. Okay. And we sort of got during the pandemic. We sort of started listening to different stuff, and then Drake did the cover of and did "Way Too Sexy." So we thought, let's try some of this sort of half. I don't want to call it hip hop because it sounds like it's like we're trying to be the two middle-aged white guys.
Middle-aged white guys doing hip hop.
So that would be bloody ridiculous. But so we thought we liked this sort of half groove stuff. So we played around with some beats, and then we had this song. And so the idea of the song is sort of darkness into light. It's that journey. Because I think it taps in. We've both suffered from depression for forever.
I think anybody in the music business,
definitely, especially in the pandemic.
And especially in the pandemic. And also, I think because we were locked down, we couldn't do gigs. When we were doing festivals, particularly in Europe and in Canada and places like that, we know what people expect to hear. Right. So what you end up doing is you play to the audience. You don't necessarily play what you want to play.
Yes, a little bit, yeah.
You know, what your main in a way, what happens is when you walk out on stage, your main concern is making the people enjoy it.
That's right.
And if it means a 4 on the floor groove and a banging thing, then that's what you do. But because we couldn't do that, we were put back on our, sort of on our heels, if a little bit, and we had to rethink what do we want to sound like, what do we actually want to do. And the 4 on the floor, party wasn't something that we were particularly attracted to.
We weren't feeling that at the time. We were like millions of others. We were pissed off and a bit fed up. And trying to think, well, how are we going to make this work? And personally,
we were invited to a party at number 10 and we just couldn't go.
Okay. You guys blew that place up.
Food and everything.
I think also, I don't know if other artists feel this, but when I'm watching festivals and things being placed and being booked, all this, I'm thinking, we don't know how governments are going to react in 2 months' time. It's quite volatile, and our biggest market are outside the UK. I think in the UK it's a bit easier, but suddenly, we saw just the other day, Portugal changed their minds about the coming and going. Spain have, France have, Germany have, Austria.
What do you mean? You talk about the vaccination thing?
Yeah, talking about vaccinations.
You don't have to have it now.
Well,
it varies.
It varies. That's the bloody problem.
Yeah,
and so that's the issue. So what you could have is have one country announce one's kind of protocol, and another country announce another, and that and for people like us who are unvaxxed, that makes touring very, very, very delicate. So from our perspective, and a lot of people say, well, that's your decision not to get vaccinated. And they're 100% right. That is our decision. But so from our perspective, it makes it, we'll be talking to promoters and they're not very keen because it's quite well known that we haven't had the vaccine. So we're not anti-vax. I should just say that. We just haven't had it. And so it's been in the papers a lot. So a lot of people know we haven't had it. So promoters are now saying, well, we're not sure we're going to book you because if the country changes its regulation
protocol,
then we're out the game.
Also, it's not just the country. You've got that whole chain. You've got hotels. You've got the venue. You've got the other musicians you're working with. There's a whole string of people that can trip you up. And also, before we go out live, we would have to invest 5 to 10 grand rehearsals.
Yeah, it's sort of set up time. And if and suddenly you set up, and this has happened to bands already. They've invested all this money, in rehearsals, and then suddenly you can't do it. Well, there's a big 3-day festival just being cancelled. Well, not cancelled, postponed. I think Boy George was going to head the band. I was the headliner, and so I can't remember what else. And that's a 3-day festival. So that's a lot of bands, a lot of people who just had 3 days taken out their summer diary.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there are many others.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of my friends are back home, man. Just shambles with this, because like you said, they don't know where they can go and when they can go and all that kind of crazy. Like I was trying to bring Patty Austin over here to do the Indigo, right? And,
yes.
But you never know. Like I haven't been vaccinated either.
Oh, I see. Okay, right.
I can't go home until
No, exactly.
I can't go back to the States, man. I'm from there. I got kids there and everything else. That's my son up there. I can't go see him, right?
Yeah.
But
Funny enough, Skyler,
I started Music for Global Change about 20 years ago as a concept.
Oh, right.
And it was I saw all the young people writing these tunes and they was angry or love songs, and I'm like, guys, write something that you can help somebody else with.
Yes.
Well, whether it's a healing tool or you're trying to figure out ways to make life better for everybody, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's really cool when I do get the young people to just sit on it, right? To take image out of music. It has nothing to do with the way you look. People are listening to you, right?
Yes.
If you're in your car, they're not looking at you. They look, you know what I mean? They go, hey man, I know who that is. That's where I said Fred. I know their sound anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. And I tell these kids, you got to find a signature.
You do.
For your sound. You guys have a signature. I don't care what instrument you guys sing over or whatever, right? It's still going to be your sound, and people know your sound.
Yes.
And no better than you guys do. That's why with this new record, you say, hey, we're going to try this other way. And that's the cool thing about music, you know what I mean?
It is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But it's still, no matter what, when I heard you sing over that music, I know who you were, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm telling these kids. Stop studying everybody else.
Exactly.
Make up your own sound.
No,
100%.
100%. Right. I'd recommend it while we're here. If you just go onto YouTube and look at Jerusalem, which you might know, it's an African song. The traditional song has been reinvented by Master KG, who's the DJ, and it's gone global. I mean, the trouble is you won't hear it probably on Radio 1 or Radio 2 because they're too busy playing cheering, you know. Right. But this is a really happy. On YouTube, it's the Jerusalem Dance Challenge. So you get all these African kids doing the most extraordinary dancing.
Fantastic,
it's totally uplifting. It's completely brilliant. Whereas when I go up, when I hear buskers, when I go past, I just want to think, can't you cheer up? Can't you just cheer up?
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, people are tired of bad news.
Man, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everybody wants some, positive. See, and when I'm out teaching these kids, when I say social conscious music, some of them think that it's political or something like that. And I said, no, I want positive. I want music that's going to make people feel good and take them out of their moment for a minute, right? Exactly. And we just need a lot of music like that. So, hopefully we can get you guys endorsement for Music for Global Change.
Yes.
And, so we can go out and teach these young people how to write lyrics that heal, educate, and solve problems, right? Instead of talking about yourself or look what I'm wearing and all that kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
I always ask this.
Yeah.
What's some of your favorite social conscious music artists?
Oh, God. Probably for me, recently, is 5 Times August.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. I think he's done some really interesting work. I mean, Bob Dylan's obviously a huge influence on everything he does, but that's not a bad thing because Bob Dylan was a genius. So
he's amazing. I met him before.
Steal from the best.
Yeah.
But he would be my most sort of concurrent influence, I guess.
I think I'd go for Bill Withers.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I think Bill Withers
cheered people up, amazing.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye.
The
whole album. What's going on is exactly. It's not protest. It's an awareness album.
The whole album. Yeah, the whole album. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And people, if you listen to the lyric properly, that's exactly what it's about.
Yeah. Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah, there's some early stuff. Yeah, we go back to obviously the 60s is a prime time for that. I'm trying to think of.
We always bemoan the fact that in the modern world, pop music is behind the curve in this. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, you had Joan Baez and Bob Dylan and Buffalo Springfield, and it was they're either rattling on about Vietnam or they're rattling on about color or whatever it was, but they were engaged. Pop music was right at the front of talking about this, and now. What is it doing?
Well, a lot of rap does.
No, a lot of rap, but in terms of contemporary, the kind of music that you'll hear on mainstream radio, what is it?
Yes.
It's
you look.
At all.
You know what I love, guys, is trying to get the kids to go watch Woodstock.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because a lot of those people were singing protest songs about, it was the young people that stopped the Vietnam War, right?
Yes.
It was,
and music was a big part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in Woodstock, Richie Havens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And I used to tour with Sly and the Family Stone. Yes, Sly and the Family Stone.
And when I started thinking about those songs, I'm everyday people. I want to take you higher.
Yeah.
And also
those were social conscious songs.
Yeah. And Gil Scott Heron.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Really good stuff. My wife is African. And so we have a mixed race kid, and I was showing her Jimi Hendrix in Blackpool in '60, whatever it was. I said, "What you've got to imagine? There are race riots happening in America. you've got a black artist playing rock and roll,
left-handed,
right.
left-handed,
left-handed,
Yeah.
Left-handed, right.
and he wants lots of white chicks. That's what you've got to get your head around.
Yeah.
You can't imagine how explosive this was.
It's a little bit like Good God, Miss Molly.
Little Richard.
Little Richard.
Yeah.
A gay black guy back in the 50s singing rock and roll.
Extraordinary.
I mean, come on.
Just explain the good thing about digital platforms is that she, through that, discovered Nina Simone.
Yeah.
Talking about social consciousness.
Man.
Another great artist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She discovered Nina Simone because she was playing Michael Jackson, and then she played something else, and then we said you also may like. And Nina Simone came up and says, "Oh yeah, played that," and suddenly she hears this. So that's a very positive thing. Exactly. I think of things like Spotify, spreading that music. So that's why I showed her Hendrix. I said, you've
got to get your head around what was happening.
The world was very volatile. It was only 20 years after the Second World War. Yeah, and suddenly you've got this black dude on stage playing rock and roll.
You know the crazy thing about it, black people wouldn't go see him.
No, that's right. Yeah,
you know what I mean. And when you look at Bob Marley, it was mostly white people at those concerts. Now, I'm an advocate and an activist, man. I'm trying to take racism out of music, right?
Right, yes.
Because it might be some little black kid, I play him some country music. And he goes, "Oh, I like that. I want to do that," right?
Yeah.
And I think to myself, they're not going to let you in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I do.
Music is something you listen to. Right, and
it's a bit like the Katie Lang thing.
Sorry.
With Katie Lang, when Katie Lang was gay, it was a huge problem for the country set, and I think there was a huge sort of poster outside her town saying how great it was that she lived there and was born there or whatever. And the minute she came out as gay, they took it down.
It's thick.
It's a colour thing.
And let's take, like I said, let's take image out of music. I took some kids in a van, right? And I'm channel surfing. And a song comes on there, I'm like, oh, right? And I let it go on for a couple minutes, I turned it off. I said, "Hey guys, do you really care how they look right now?" No.
Exactly. Yeah.
You see that? So the whole video thing, it's crazy, man. The whole video thing, there might be a little ugly kid and he might be the next Tchaikovsky. And we judged them on the way he looked.
They do, yeah. And also through talent shows where the skill set requirements are so narrow. Yeah. So you've got to dance a little bit and you've got to be able to do this and that. But you look at some of the biggest artists through, obviously Michael Jackson's probably an exception. But if you look at some of the bigger artists, imagine if Aretha Franklin went on, they'd say, "Get off, you're too fat." Yeah. Would they? They would. You're not dancing.
Luther Vandross was a big guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Barry White was 300 pounds.
Barry White.
Yeah. The image thing has been central. I mean, back in the day, because Frank Sinatra, for instance, was born. It was a forceps birth, so he was scarred heavily behind the ears. Yeah. And he was told it never worked for that reason.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You know what I love about Frank?
The image thing has become an obsession.
Yeah.
What I love about there's a documentary about Frank Sinatra and how he let Sammy Davis Jr. He basically discovered Sammy, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's right.
And they wouldn't let the band in the front door.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Black. And he told them, "If you don't let these guys, I'm not playing."
No, right.
That's pretty cool for Sammy. Yeah. My aunt used to travel with him and Bob Hope and Bing Crosby and all of them. She was a great singer back in the late 40s around that time, right?
Yeah.
Tom, you got another question?
Yeah. Well, I've read that you like to give back to, or you're trying to give back to independent artists and help basically to avoid the pitfalls you guys found yourselves when you were coming through the ranks and up when you first started. How do artists get in touch with you? Is that something you're actively welcoming them coming to you? How does somebody get in touch?
Well, it's bizarre, because there actually is an independent music sort of forum. I think it's called AIM, and they have completely blanked us. It's hilarious, you know.
Artists and music.
Yeah, and so because we write said friend, people have certain preconceptions about us. We get invited to some stuff and we get completely ignored by others. And for example, I get stuff from Basker saying, "Come and sit down in a room with a multi-platinum award-winning songwriter." And I go back and say, "I am a multi-platinum
How about that one?
songwriter. Well, you can come and sit with me if you want."
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
It's really funny. So we do try and help independent artists. And the problem is, of course, they send songs and suddenly you've got hours and hours of songs to go through.
Yeah.
And I do say, with all the will in the world, the best thing to do is to send little clips or send one track.
Right.
You suddenly get 10 links on an email, and then it becomes a time issue. So, but we don't really hand out advice. We just tell them what we did, which we shouldn't have done, and we tell them what's king now, in our opinion, is copyright and copyright ownership. Yeah. Because the dreadful thing major record companies did back in the day was sign your copyright forever.
Right.
That's like buying a house. That's like paying off your mortgage, and the mortgage company saying, "Oh, by the way, we still own your house." Yeah. It's pretty crazy stuff. So and that's why Prince wrote slave on his head.
That's right.
And so we try and talk about that. But that said, it is very difficult, isn't it? If you're 20 years old, you come from a poorer income family, and you suddenly got Universal going, "Here's £100,000. Can we do an album?" Yeah. It's easy for me to say, "Don't hand your rights over." That's easy. Yeah. But it's a difficult. It's always a difficult call. But you have to try and fight your corner.
Yeah, you do. Also, there's a perception issue when you walk into an office. If you're a young kid, you walk into a record company office, you think that you're in control because you've got the hit. That's not the way it is. No. It's the guy behind the desk who's in control, because he knows that you've got the hit, and he knows that you're the golden goose that's going to lay the golden egg. You don't think that. You think you're in charge, but you're not in charge. So when we first signed, we thought, "Oh, this is we're going to change the world. We're going to change the music business. We're going to and after about 20 years, you suddenly realize actually, they're going to be that EMI will be there forever, long after I'm dead and buried. Yeah, that's what artists get in their head. So you have to understand when you start approaching people, if you believe in what you do, you're the one with the leverage.
Content is king.
Yeah, it is. Content is king. You have to believe that, even if it's not true. Even if it's not true, you have to believe it. It's not true. You have to believe it.
When I found out content was king, was Warner Brothers. We was doing something then, but only a couple of us was writing. Now the band's been together for like 5-6 years, right? But the record comes in. He said, "Well, who's the ones that's writing the song?" And I said, "Well, it's me and this other." He said, "Well, everybody else is employed." Now these are your mates you've been playing with for years, right? But because they didn't write anything. You know what I mean?
That's right. Exactly.
I tell these kids all the time, especially the ones I produce as vocal, right? I go, "I don't want you to listen to the radio 2 months before I produce you." And why? I said, because I don't want to hear who you're studying.
No, that's right.
I want to hear who's inside of you. You have a certain voice, and we need to, get that out. And then I'll teach them how to write their own lyrics, because I'm like, if you really want to make some money, this is how you separate the stars and the superstars. A star is somebody you make. A superstar can do everything. They can produce their own record. They can write their own record, all that, right? So you got to, I encourage them to do that. But right now, I encourage them to do social conscious music, because I want to grow this business so that we can all go out and change the world, do some amazing concerts, but do some concerts that's going to uplift people, right? And there's 5 billion love songs. Do we really need another love song? Right.
I agree with you.
I think Paul McCartney would agree with you there.
I completely agree with you.
And John Lennon was one of my heroes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that song "Imagine" is what really brought him out in the Beatles.
Yes.
You know, because Paul was the cute one. So the girls, you know, they go and Google Gaga over here, right? But John was back there writing some of them hits. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's crazy. Ryan, you got another question?
I think I know that these guys have to go soon, but I was just sitting there. I listened to the song and I heard, I love the line, "Can we get love to trend?"
How about that?
Yes.
Right. And then I go, wait a second. How are these guys labeled the UK's most controversial band? I'm in the United States going like, what is that about? Like these guys were talking about, "Can we get love to trend?"
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on here in the UK?
Well, to be honest with you, I think being controversial is so easy these days because everything is so vanilla and beige and pre-scripted, and PR people and A&R people and sponsors in the middle, in between the audience and the artists. And I think that's because we're not signed to anybody and we're just been independent for a long time. I think we're used to saying what we think, and it's become a bit of a novelty. You know,
that's cool.
They were surprised we were thinking at all. I think that's my problem.
It's about being different, right?
Yes, it is.
And how do people go? They go, you know, I know their sound. Yeah. And I not only know their sound, I'm not the only one that love it, right?
Yeah.
And with what is it, AB and people on the planet, you don't need everybody. You just need your own family.
Exactly.
Right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Your own family.
Yeah, that's very true. And I was talking, I don't know who it was now, and talk about artists. And they were saying, what you got to remember, they say exactly that. You got whatever billion people, however many billion people on the planet. Most people don't have a Michael Jackson album. Most people don't have a Beatles album. Yeah. They don't have a Rolling Stones album. You have to put things in context. In the West, we get consumed by this. Yeah. But there's whole continents with their own shit going on. You know, and it's important to remember that. You know, that local music industry.
Yeah, we were driving through Mumbai on one occasion, and there was as we drove past like a festival hall, and the guy said, "Oh, we had Elton John here a few weeks ago. He sold the place out for a week or whatever it was." So he said, "Oh, you know, that's very good." And then he said, "Yeah, but there's a local artist who sold it out for 6 months."
Wow, that's crazy. That's
crazy. Nobody's ever heard of local artists, you know. So there is, there's a whole scene going on where the West has got this thing in its head that it's the only thing that matters, and it really is not. It really is.
I was totally blown away because I did a record with Elton John and Aretha Franklin. They did a duet, and I sang the background.
Oh, great.
It was called Through the Storm, right? And I'm like, man, I'm getting two icons on the same time, man. You know,
so 2 for 1.
2 for 1. Yeah, it's a bundle.
2 for 1, man. That was out of this world. But man, listen, thank you, brothers, for coming on.
No, it's our pleasure. I would love to come. We'd love to come back on when we have a bit more time. That'd be great.
Exactly.
You know what? When your record release and you put it out, come on back.
All right, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's about 2 weeks.
You know, that'd be really good. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys plan to tour off your record?
Not at the moment, no. We're gonna focus on the book and the record and some of the other projects. Hopefully, we'll be on the road next year.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that would be nice.
What's the title of the book?
No, you guys are welcome anytime.
The title of the book is Still Too Sexy: Surviving Right Said Fred.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, brothers.
I'm gonna mint your NFTs this week.
Namaste.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers,
thank you. Have a good week.
Much.
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, man.
Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world. There's an urgency facing our humanity.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.